With this Wednesday morning, the day before Thanksgiving. Hope you're all set with your turkeys and all the good stuff that goes with it. We're going to talk about the aged population today and groups that take care of those of us in our senior years. And they are agencies that are designed to specialize in helping those who are aging. And there is a state organization that kind of bundles them all up together, Area Agencies on Aging Association of Michigan. And with that association this morning, we welcome to the program Don Saldia. Don, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for the time, and appreciate being here.
Oh, thanks for being with us. I guess we ought to start with an overview of the statewide organization and what you do in relation to all the local agencies on aging.
Absolutely, Art. So the Area Agencies on Aging Association of Michigan, we've been around for a long time, over 50 years, and we actually represent the 16 local area agencies on aging here in the state of Michigan. The 16 AAAs all serve all 83 counties, and we provide various services really with the ultimate goal of helping older adults age independently in their own homes. So
I assume at 82 I qualify.
Well, I have to ask a few questions, but arguably, yes, Art.
Yeah.
I'm glad to help you out.
I'm always asking myself questions. Let's start with how the state's divided up into regions.
Sure.
I found that interesting.
Yes, absolutely. And so more so than historical, reasons for that is really the area agencies on aging. The reason why there is 16 is because we wanted to ensure that we understand the individuals and the needs of those individuals in our communities. This is one of those big benefits as compared to having one AAA across the state that's really just trying to, approach those needs as a whole. We're really able to drill down in our communities really to see, hey, what are the needs? What can we do? What is unique, for example, here in Kalamazoo? And, what could be different up in the Upper Peninsula? So the services, in a sense, could vary, but arguably the mission and the purpose.
I have lost you. I don't know if you can hear me, but your phone cut out. There you go. Stop. Yeah, your phone, you cut out completely. You were gone.
Oh, no.
You were gone for about 15, 20 seconds. So tell us again what you were talking about.
Oh, sure. All right. So is that better?
You're doing fine.
And so really with the 16, why there is 16 is we want to make sure that when we are providing services and supports, that is these needs and filling those problems that's unique to each and every individual area. As compared to, one organization trying to solve all the problems statewide, we can really say, hey, for example, here in Kalamazoo, here are those specific needs. Here are the individuals who need that help. We can cater those services, cater that outreach specific to our local areas.
Are there that many differences? Because, area agencies on aging, many of them do the same thing. How different is it from one area to the other on how we handle our aged population?
Great question. And, I would say it's really about how that help gets coordinated in the community. Even though some, very similar services, right, a home-delivered meal or in-home care, one of the things that AAAs do is really partner with local organizations to really empower them to get them set up to provide that local service. So you'll see some of those similar services in a higher level. And once you start drilling it down, we can find that different organizations in each of our communities provide those services in possibly unique ways. We're able to standardize that just to ensure that continuity of care is delivered in our community by local trusted organizations.
You kind of answered my next question, but the question is, why do we need a state agency to look over all the other agencies, so to speak?
Sure.
They're all doing their things tailored to their communities. What is it that the Association of Michigan does for them?
Oh, great question. So the association really is, in short and simple terms, an association. So really what we're able to do, and this kind of leads into, our My Caregiver Connection website, this does create, a centralized point for really, collaboration amongst all of those 16 AAAs to really, empower our communities, create projects, even do some statewide advocacy that we can then, kind of bring to our local communities. The way I like to describe it is kind of like an upstream and a downstream model of care. There's absolutely services that we can implement at the local level, but, it could be strengthened as you kind of go upstream. What can we do at the state level as well? Where can we really find that balance? Where can we really put those efforts to serve older adults? And where does that best fit? Having a statewide agency like the 4AM allows us to do that.
And you mentioned the new My Caregiver Connection. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. And so, of course, the area agencies on aging serve older adults. We provide all of the supports and really try to, again, empower what those resources are. My Caregiver Connection really expands upon those services we deliver by focusing on really arguably the backbone of healthcare for older adults. It's those informal caregivers. These are family members or neighbors, friends who are arguably unpaid and providing some sort of support for an aging older adult. My Caregiver Connection really creates a centralized point or an access point for services and resources for those informal caregivers.
The notion of a caregiver, there's a bunch of them, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely. There is. And, that's actually something that we've really found interesting in terms of providing services or, even information. Is some individuals, and I'll say this, my mom, she's been the caregiver for my grandmother for the past 25 years. My grandmother recently just passed away. But I'm like, hey, Mom, you're a caregiver. She's like, no, I'm not a caregiver. I'm just a good daughter.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely, absolutely not wrong. But even identifying as a caregiver, someone who really, out of the kindness of their own hearts, caring or helping someone to live independently, absolutely, that role could feel different from caregiver to caregiver. But when you drill down to the essence of what they're doing, they are literally caring for another person and not being paid for it.
I read in one of your press releases that there's an estimated 1.7 million caregivers in Michigan. And I said to myself immediately, that's a large chunk of the population.
It is a huge part of the population. And actually another study released just recently in 2025, AARP did an estimate as well. Nationwide, we're finding close to 1 in 4 adult Americans are actually providing some sort of care. So it is a staggering amount of individuals who are providing unpaid care. And when you actually scale this up here in Michigan, we've also estimated that it's over 1 billion hours of unpaid care that they're providing to those individuals.
I have to believe, simply because we're living longer, that those numbers are going to continue to grow.
Absolutely. And what we're seeing is, our older adult population, where the concentration is going to increase well into 2060. We're living longer. And, healthcare arguably it's expensive. In-home care is expensive. And so there's going to be this increased reliance on, our family, on our neighbors, on our friends to kind of help us get by and to help us age as independently as possible in our own homes.
Well, it's one of those things that's evident simply by the amount of people using area agencies on aging.
Yeah.
The numbers keep going up.
Absolutely. And, what we're finding as well, of course, we've kind of heard this term, direct care workers. These are those paid professional caregivers. Right now here in Michigan, we're finding that we currently have a shortage of over 30,000 of them.
Yep.
And so it's already, all of this is just compounding in regards to the need. And, of course, us as a community trying to fill those in.
All right, hang on. I got to take a break. We'll come back for another segment. Sure. Talking to Don Saldia from the Area Agencies on Aging Association of Michigan. That's a mouthful. And we will be back after these notes.
It's the biggest savings event.
They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to...
The blue line, Sider. Crowd on the edge of their seat. Sider with a shot. He scores! The Red Wings play 6:45 tonight on 790 News Radio WSGW.
All right, we're back with you. Talking to Don Saldia. He is with the aging, the Area Agencies on Aging Michigan Commission, or Michigan Association, if you will, Association of Michigan. And they have a new website called MI Caregiver Connection, and that's what it is, micaregiverconnection.org. Is that right, Don? It's .org?
It's actually .com, Art.
Oh, .com. Okay. So let's talk about that caregiver who has the responsibility of a loved one, and they go on to this website, micaregiverconnection.com. What will they find out? What are they searching for when they go on that site?
Sure. I would say one of the big things that they're first going to notice is simply that text on that website that says, "You are not alone." So often we find that caregivers, even though this is, again, close to 1 in 4 Americans are doing, they feel isolated. And so with the website, when you go on there, you'll see that text, and that really starts the journey through that website of getting connected to resources. So right off the bat, you'll see buttons for connecting to a local agency who could assist you, local support group, local resources, and of course more information about just caregiving in general.
And how, for caregivers, one of the things that I've often heard in talking to a couple of them is the burnout factor.
Yes.
Is that something that's addressed on the website?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that is definitely one of the biggest things that we find, especially for individuals who have been caregiving for many, many, many years, especially caring for someone with a progressive illness. Yes, there are resources online here on mycaregiverconnection.com where individuals can find either, various services that are possibly available in their community, but then also how to work through that burnout. And I would say even that burnout, that scales even to younger caregivers as well. Nearly 1/3 of caregivers here in Michigan are actually part of the sandwich generation of caregivers, meaning that they're caring for either an older adult or an adult with a disability, as well as a young child. And then, that is a whole different type of stress and multitasking, especially as it relates to that burnout.
I've never been a caregiver, so I'm speaking without knowledge when it comes to this subject. But it would seem to me that going in, a caregiver has to know their own limits.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes?
Yes, that is absolutely a factor. But we're finding, that's actually, multiple conversations sometimes with our caregivers to really find out what that limit is. I know I've personally had some conversations with some caregivers where, they kind of expect that, well, this is a family, this is my mother, so I'm going to give everything that I have to care for this person, to keep them at home and to, of course, provide what they need. Absolutely not wrong, but knowing what that limit is gives you, as that caregiver, right, that time to recharge, and I think of, caring for yourself first so you can provide 100%, you have to take a look. You have to understand.
You disappeared again. There you go. You back?
Oh, did it cut off
Your
again?
phone dropped out again. Yeah, missed the
Oh,
last.
no, I do not know what is going on with my phone. I will try to get really close to it. So.
You missed the last
And-
15 seconds or so.
Oh, sure. And so, knowing your limits is really it's an essential part of providing care. I'm a nurse by trade, and so, of course, even from a professional standpoint, I can say, yeah, I know what my limits are as a professional, whether that's legally or whether that's even with caseloads, what is that nurse-to-client ratio? And when you look at caregivers, these informal caregivers, it is almost a 24-hour job.
Well,
it's something that. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is you can know your limits, but sometimes, how can I phrase this? Love gets in the way. The person you're taking care of traditionally is a close family member, and because of that, you might ignore some of your own limitations.
Yes. And that's exactly it. Having a having that compassion, having that, having that care, that arguably that love, to care for a caregiver.
Sure.
All important, but certainly, you have to consider that support for you yourself as that caregiver so you can sustain, providing that assistance and providing that care. It is all part of that full circle, and that's really what we try to do with mycaregiverconnection.com is really, one, start that conversation that, hey, you can take care of yourself, and then two, there are supports available for you to help you with this journey.
Are there the kinds of supports where you can sit down and talk to someone? And I ask that specifically because I'm a conversationalist. It's fine to have a computer. It's fine to look things up. I do it all the time. But when I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of something, there's nothing like sitting down and talking to someone. Mm-hmm. Are there people available for caregivers to guide them and give them the kind of support they need?
100%, Art, 100%. And this is one of the key essential functions of every 16 area agency on aging in all 83 counties here, or serving all 83 counties here in the state of Michigan, is information and resources. So you will be able to call an area agency on aging and get connected to a local aging professional to start talking about, what resources or what needs I have. So often, one of the first things we hear is when we pick up the phone and say, of course, Area Agency on Aging, how can we help you? It's simply, hey, this is my situation. I really don't know where to start. And we're able to really start that conversation and start exploring some options and getting some better understanding of what that need is. So frequently, especially with caregivers, it's overwhelming. And simply typing in, into an online search engine, care support or caregiver support, it is absolutely overwhelming, all of the information that's coming back to you, let alone coming back to you when you're already in a very stressful situation of caregiving.
If I go on to mycaregiverconnection.com, will I be able to find a path back to my local area Commission on Aging?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So there is a button that says Connect with a local area agency on aging. One of the key functions for this website is we wanted to make sure that it is accessible, that it is easy to navigate. You'll see that there is the state of Michigan. There is a colored map, and you can simply hover over your area. You click one button, and within 2 clicks of getting to this page, you have the contact information to the local area agency on aging who could provide that support.
Can you hang on for another segment?
Absolutely, Art.
Good. All right. We'll be back with Don Saldia, and we're talking about the Area Agencies on Aging Association of Michigan and how you as a caregiver can find out more information and what it takes to be a caregiver. I got some other questions, too, about the aging population, and we'll chat with Don when we return after this.
Gotta go.
And we're back with you as we chat with Don Saldia from the Area Agencies on Aging Association of Michigan. That's a mouthful. Don, let me ask a question. You're a registered nurse and you got a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. How has the increase and awareness of dementia-related problems like Alzheimer's impacted caregiving?
Sure. I would say it's impacted caregiving quite a bit, especially with dementia and Alzheimer's, where it is a progressive illness. We're finding that our informal caregivers are arguably starting that journey prepared, I guess you could say, right? But as that the disease progresses, the increased strain on the caregiver increases. And what we're finding, too, is, the physical health of those caregivers also then start to wane, especially with our older adult caregivers. So we're finding, really, that increased stress and that increase of just that, increase of physical capacity of caregiving for someone else really is turning into, say clinically, negative health outcomes for that caregiver. So it really kind of circles back to, why we want to absolutely want to start those conversations, say, hey, let's focus on your health so that you can continue giving, so that you can continue caring as you choose to do so.
And this goes back to what I said earlier about knowing your limitations. Not everyone is capable of being a caregiver for, let's say, an Alzheimer patient.
Yeah.
Because that is really a demanding situation, isn't it?
Absolutely demanding, especially, of course, later on and, as that individual, the care recipient progresses. And this is one of the things we wanted to make sure we highlighted on the website, My Caregiver Connection, is access and an easy way to find out more of those type of supportive services. Many community or many AAAs, statewide, actually have education classes for that caregiver to say, hey, even if you are in this situation, caring for an individual who is declining in their memory or their ability to help themselves, we can offer you training and support to, again, help sustain you as a caregiver so you're not going in blind. I actually remember reading one study that it is almost half of caregivers really have no formal training on even higher level, medical, or almost nursing home level activities, helping someone with, a catheter or, some of those activities. So it's really amazing, one, the ability for caregivers to start this journey, but then also how much support that they could benefit from as they continue on caring for someone else.
Because it's pretty evident that the caregivers themselves are going to need some caregiving at some point in time.
Yes, absolutely. With that AARP study that I mentioned earlier, just completed this year, they found that the average age of a caregiver nationwide is about 51, so 51 years old. And then some other studies, when you want to try to link these together, that, once over the age of 65, there's higher increases or higher chances that you as an individual are going to need some sort of assistance for long-term care. So you really have, this really complex compounding issue of an aging population who is both in need of help, being, a care recipient, but also, most likely, providing care as well. So it's very complex. And again, so vital to start these supports early, to start these conversations early, that we as a community can be prepared.
And, it's when you reach my age, and I'm 82, you every day wake up thanking God that I don't have that situation. I don't have someone that I have to care for, and I don't need somebody to care for me. All some people say I would, but but I don't. And it's interesting today, to me anyway, and I found this out after my wife passed 3 years ago. I really came to realize how many people out there are living alone, don't have the benefit of that caregiver and somebody around to look after them.
Yes. And, and speaking of, the isolated, older adults, yeah, it is one of those big things that local area agencies on aging are really trying to focus on. Because when you're isolated, right, you don't have that access to not only informal care, but arguably sometimes that professional supportive care. There could be decreased opportunities, whether that's transportation issues, whether that's simply internet access. If the needs could be, or the supportive services could be there, but if you're so isolated that you don't know how to access them or that these type of services exist, it certainly affects the long-term ability for someone to age independently and, of course, in their own homes.
The other interesting thing about being independent, as I am, one of the things that worries me, and I'm really not too much of a worrier. I don't really worry a lot about these things, but it's crossed my mind. There's nobody around in terms of my personal life to know if I'm slipping. I won't recognize it, but somebody else might. And we don't have that. As independents, it's wonderful to have my independence and all of that and be able to do all the things I want to do whenever I want to do it. But there's nobody there to say, hey, dummy, slow down.
I'll be there for you, Art. I can do that.
Okay, good. Give me your phone number, Don.
And so, Art, I would say this is actually another thing that, area agencies on aging are able to assist with. So one of the big things, whether that's My Caregiver Connection or giving a call to a local area agency on aging, it is free. There is no cost involved. That is, we are not here to make a profit. We are here to serve the older adult population. Many of the services from the AAAs, so we call it AAAs for short, you don't have to be very sick or very ill to arguably start asking those questions. Especially for an isolated older adult, one of the things we always like to try to keep a resource on hand is, hey, what are those opportunities that you can be involved with your community? Even if you don't have family members here in the area, what are some of those opportunities that you can stay connected? What are some of those opportunities that we can still try to start developing that network of support, and what connections can we make?
Well, again, you can find all of this online. Tell everybody again the website.
Yep, it is www.micaregiverconnection.com.
And let me ask, Don, how is the state agency, the association, funded?
So the association is funded. Arguably, it's an association, so all of the 16 local AAAs really invest in this association. This gives us the opportunities to really release these statewide projects or these initiatives, and our ability even to apply for various grants to support this. So MyCaregiverConnection.com was actually funded by a grant that we received from Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. So we try to do as much as we can, sometimes with limited resources, but at the end of the day, that is there to support the community, and we are absolutely thankful for every opportunity we have to do so.
Well, Don, listen, it's been a pleasure chatting with you and learning about it. We'll have to do it again because it's a topic. It's not going away. It's growing.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen predictions that we're going to continue to be an older society up until about 2060, when it might start to turn. But it's certainly we of the older generations occupy a large percentage of the population, and that means a lot of us need help. No two ways about it.
No, absolutely. And, in art, I always think, when we talk about needing help. So, of course, growing up, I was one who watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he had a quote, and he said, all of us at some time or another need help. Whether we're giving or receiving help, each one of us has something valuable to bring into this world. And so, when I think about our neighborhood or our community, that is what we, as a community are here for. We want to support one another. And, of course, there are local agencies like AAAs that are here to support those individuals on that journey.
Well, Don, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for spending all that time with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. All right, hey, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Bye-bye now. Don Saldia from the, it's a big mouthful, but it's the Area Agencies on Aging Association of Michigan. Much easier to go on the website. Much easier to go on the website, mycaregiverconnection.com. That's mycaregiverconnection.com, all one word. Take a break, come back, spend just a couple of minutes talking about some things coming up.
The kinetic energy.
All right, back with you. Just have a couple of minutes remaining here. I want to tell you about a couple of things coming up. Tonight is the first of 4 Wednesdays in a row where we hopefully brighten the day for the youngsters who are in the NICU and the children's ward at Covenant. It's called Lights Before Christmas. Covenant Hospital and Jolt Credit Union and the Impact Credit Unions and Connoisseur Media, our company, put this on every year. And what it is a gathering of first responders, mostly police agencies and fire, outside of the windows of the children's ward at the hospital. And at 6 o'clock tonight, next Wednesday, and 2 after that, the 3rd, the 10th, and the 17th, we turn on the lights, blow the sirens for 2 minutes, wave lights at the youngsters in the windows, and they wave lights back. And it's a good time for all, and it's